All right, welcome everybody. It is Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Welcome, Captain Phil, back again.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, you're always welcome.
I'll try not to ruin your show for you.
And
No
welcome
guarantees.
of course. So everybody, so we're kind of taking a little different tack tonight.
Yes.
We're doing a very new film.
Very new film, yes.
So there will be probably some spoilers. Just going to warn you guys, but they're not really. This isn't one of those movies where it's not the end of Planet of the Apes, so we're not going to give anything like that away.
Yeah, no dramatic reveals.
Yeah. No, we see dead people.
Spoiler alert! It's not May the 4th.
No,
Spoiler alert! It's not May the 4th.
Not May the 4th. So we're doing a movie called 5/25/77. If you don't know what that is the day that Star Wars aired around the country. And this is a film about a young man who was obsessed with science fiction and making science fiction movies. And of course, this became his holy grail of films. But before we get into that, I'm pretty sure MB has some news.
I have news. Let me fly through the news so that we can jump right into 525. Cheers, sad news, guys. Cheers and Star Trek star Kirstie Alley has passed at age 71. She had a short battle with cancer. Kirstie originated the Savick role before it was taken up by our friend Robin Curtis. Did you? Okay, wait. Have you guys all put your Christmas trees up yet?
Sort of.
Did you put your Christmas tree up and think, you know what we're missing here? Pop culture. Well, Hallmark got you, fam. New for 2022, E.T., the Razor Crest. It actually looks really cool. Luke Skywalker wailing on all those Dark Troopers and Mandalorian.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It's a cool one. Legend of Zelda, a Quidditch set, and a few other things. Oh, an actual Super Genesis game console. It's really cute. And a bunch of other stuff. And you guys know Hallmark always has like all the coolest stuff. They have older ones include like Ripley's power loader from Alien, Vader in a holiday sweater, the Jurassic Park T-Rex, Ecto-1, Millennium, like all the good stuff. So if you need more pop culture in your Christmas, Hallmark has you.
The Enterprise is at the top of my tree.
The Enterprise is at the top of a lot.
NCT 1701, no bloody A, B, C, or D.
No bloody A, B.
And I got to tell you, if you don't have it, and that's a recurring one that they've been bringing out every year, like they don't change it, you can buy it. That is, if you're going to get one of the Star Trek ones, that's the one to get. It's really, they did a beautiful job.
There's some really cute
with that one.
There's some good stuff.
The light show is all Finnerman. It's great.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were telling me that. Someone did put a baby Yoda up, or like a little Grogu, and he's reaching, and then they hung a little, that silver ball he had. Hung that from the ceiling a little further away.
Yeah, I also have the Death Star tree topper and the Enterprise.
Oh yeah, the Death Star one.
The Enterprise one is far better.
Yeah. All right, let's finish the news here. Moonhaven. Was anybody watching Moonhaven? I'm sorry to tell you, it's been canceled despite having just gotten greenlit their season 2. Moonhaven. So
they're not going to have a season 2, or they're going to do?
No, they're not. It got canceled. Moonhaven's first season was only 6 episodes, so you can shotgun it if you want, and it starred Dominic Monaghan. We had been hearing about rumblings about a sequel to 2019's Alita.
You're talking about Moon Knight?
No, Moonhaven.
Moonhaven. Okay.
It's on AMC.
Okay, different show that I'm thinking.
It's about a moon colony that, I don't know. It's about a moon colony.
Didn't see it.
Colony on the moon.
Didn't do well.
We were hearing rumblings about a sequel to 2019's Alita Battle Angel, but no official word on whether or not the franchise has a future at Disney. Any rumors that we hear should be taken with a pinch of salt. Alita producer John Lando is recently on a video interview saying, we'd love to circle back and do a sequel, but we're not going to put a time frame on it because you guys will hold it against me. He's right. We do. Riding the success of Andor, Disney's getting ready to launch The Acolyte. Well, they're going to launch Ahsoka first, and then they'll launch The Acolyte, which will be the next in the Star Wars series. It's set 100 years before The Phantom Menace at the end of the High Republic. It will have clear ties to the prequels, especially Revenge of the Sith. And it's kind of an explanation of how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi. It is the first show centered around the Sith in the franchise. If it's anything like Andor, like if it has the quality that Andor had, I'm all over that.
I think Andor, a lot of people called Andor kind of the grown-up Star Wars.
Andor was finally grown-up Star Wars.
Will they bring in Darth Maul for that thing?
He wouldn't have been born yet.
He wouldn't have been. Yeah, it's still too early for him for 100
It's too early
years.
for him.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
3 new trailers dropped this week for 3 different franchises and their respective fans all rejoiced. Transformers Rise of the Beast trailer. Yeah, we don't care about that. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That came out. Wow. Oh my God. That looks good. Was anybody else already crying at Baby Rocket? Like I was already crying at Baby Rocket. And Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny trailer drop, giving us the last time we will get to see Harrison Ford in that titular role. Guardians of the Galaxy is going to come out May 5 next year, and Indiana Jones is coming out June 30th. Yeah. And beyond that, Rizzo, you recommended to me Wednesday, which I shotgunned. 3 enthusiastic thumbs up, if you count Thing. It is super cute. I really liked it. It was kind of like Hogwarts for Americans, but I'm okay with that. It was cute.
Yeah, they definitely. Wednesday is, of course, based on, like we've talked about it before, about the Addams Family character, which predates Harry Potter.
Yes,
but they did take a lot. They took a lot. It's an academy. It takes place at this academy that's very kind of similar to Hogwarts in a lot of ways. So I think they definitely took a lot from that universe, but. They did a really good job with it. The girl that plays Wednesday is phenomenal. She does phenomenal.
Yeah. They were all really good, actually. They were
and it was like one of her. I mean, she had her big acting roles prior to that was like McDonald's commercials and stuff like that. So
wow.
She was yeah,
she did great. And it also had Catherine Zeta-Jones. Oh, it had Louise Guzman,
the Great,
which I thought was a really interesting casting choice. But when you go back to the original Gomez, I thought Luis carried it. Like I thought he was more like the original Gomez than Raul Julia. And I know your love for Raul.
I love Raul in that role.
I know how much you loved Raul in that role, but
he owned that.
He did.
But I thought Luis was doing a good job.
He did. And again, I guess I said, I think it all works. It's fun. It's family. It's somewhat family friendly. I mean, depending on how young your children are. It's a little dark at times, but it's good. It's fun. There's really nothing too twisty about it. I kind of figured it out for the most part.
Yeah, it's fun guessing the plot. Yeah, it's fun.
So, all right. Anyway, I'm hoping there's a season 2 for that.
Yes. Do you have a drink to go with?
I have a drink. Let me get it up. Because
what were the kids all drinking back in 5/25/77?
Well, they weren't drinking this. So
they weren't drinking
I thought, being a Star Wars themed movie, come up with a lightsaber. This one looks pretty good. Light rum, melon liqueur. Pineapple juice, lemonade, you can't beat that, really.
No, that's good.
And it's blue.
Well, they have different ones. They have red ones, too.
Wait, why is it blue? It's got light rum, melon liqueur, pineapple juice, and lemonade. That shouldn't be blue. That should be yellow.
It's supposed to be blue for the blue milk.
Yeah, we needed blue milk.
No, the blue lightsaber. Luke's lightsaber was blue.
Yes, Luke's lightsaber. Yes.
Anyway, that's what's on the Facebook page.
What was the blue ingredient?
You could always drop some blue carousel or food coloring in there.
Antifreeze.
Yeah, no.
Hey, you know what? I don't invent the drinks. I just
reports them.
I just steal them from other people.
I told him to do a special effects drink. I'm like, do something with dry ice.
Dry ice, because everybody has dry ice in their house.
It's special effects.
You have to be careful because you have to get dry ice that is made for.
To be edible. Yeah, edible.
Whatever they call it. Yeah, food grade, because
you can't use non-food grade dry ice.
You can go, usually if you find a medical courier service, they'll have buckets of it. They use it because they use it to keep specimens cold. So usually you can go buy it by the pound from those places. Anyway,
John Egg is saying in 77 I was probably drinking chocolate milk. Yeah, John, in 77 I was 6.
Yeah, so it was CNC Cola. Probably in 1977, if everybody even remembers what that was. That was a New York. That was a tri-state area thing. CNC Cola.
And we had Polar because Polar's from where I live.
Yeah. So
all right, let's get into it.
Anyway, so this is I don't know. You want to go over the basic plot? I mean, it's like I said, this is going to have some spoilers.
Before we go over the plot, I gotta ask Phil. So this thing completely flew under my radar. I bet this thing flew under a lot of people's radar.
I didn't find it until Mary Beth pointed it out.
Phil is the one that recommended this movie to us. How did you hear about this movie?
I assumed you guys knew about it, and when I got the DVD, I think I sent you. I think I just took a picture with my phone and sent it to you, just to like ruin your day some more. You're dealing, I was like, oh, let me just message Mary Beth out of the blue for no reason, and I was like, I finally got it because I'm pretty sure I heard about the film on some email list or website back when it was played in a different form, maybe at one of the Star Wars conventions earlier on.
Yeah, it did play at the 30th anniversary. They teased it.
But I mean, it was a movie I kept waiting to show up in the theater. I knew because it was a low budget, quirky, little film that it would probably show up and then leave, or maybe show up as a Fathom event type thing, a one night only sort of thing. So I was hoping for that to show up. I somehow saw the trailer. The original trailer was on YouTube, which you can't find anymore because they don't have the rights to use the music. So the trailer, the original trailer that I sent you, Mary Beth, I think is the best trailer because I think the music matches with it perfectly.
I'm watching this trailer like, oh my God. And then of course my next thought, Rizzo's gonna love this. And so I'm like, hey Rizzo.
Yeah. So that trailer works great. If you look at the ones, like if you just Google 5/25/77 trailer, you'll get like this generic music background thing, and it's
seen that one
the music
as well.
they use puts it into play, puts it in that zone.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think honestly, it probably came from the Space 1999 email list because there's a scene with him building Moonbase Alpha and filming his sequel to Jaws, and his mom
bleeding all over Moonbase Alpha.
Yeah. So that's where the interest came in, and then I just followed like I want to see this, and this went on for years. It kept going and going. It was like the third Boston album, when is this album gonna ever drop, and it was, I'm like, my goodness. And then I don't know what caused me to do this, but I either read something or there was a post or something entered into my head, and I said I should just Google 5/25/77 and see what its status is, and it showed up as a release pre-order on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then it showed up in my mailbox like 6 days later. And I'm like, and I ordered it immediately because I was afraid it would go away again. So I'm like,
it is in select theaters now. I paid Amazon Prime to watch it, worth every penny. And it's on Showtime. It's either streaming on Showtime now or it's coming up real quick, like within a week on Showtime.
The $3 or whatever Amazon wants you to pay to rent it and they give you 48 hours to watch it.
Just pay it.
And it puts you in that mode that you were in 1977 and 1976. I was 15 years old. I know you guys were in diapers, but I was 15 years 10. Old.
Okay. Yeah. So very fit might have been in diapers.
and I'm not going to say I was that guy in high school. I was a band geek. I was a nerd. I got people made fun of me because I liked Battlestar Galactica. Well, that's 1978. But you're walking around the high school reading a Star Trek novelization, or whatever. So it really sets you apart from the rest of the scene there. So it brings back not only the bittersweet memory, but the fact that time, even if you were a loser, that time was magic. It was a magic time. And go ahead.
Yeah, no, like Rizzo said, let's try to run through the plot and try to explain to people just what it is that is so captivating. Because I think all three of us were captivated by something different. Let's try to explain what was so captivating about this movie and what just struck us about this movie. So Rizzo, where do you want to start?
Well, for me, I think aside from the fact that Star Wars, like with many of us of this age, when we saw that film, it was life-changing. We've talked about this before. It was, if you talk about points in life, a lot of people had stuff, unfortunately, like, Kennedy being shot or, things like, those big moments, Pearl Harbor, which is today, by the way, Pearl Harbor Day.
Yes, it is Pearl Harbor Day.
Those things that impacts we, unfortunately, in our lives, at least until 9/11, really, was this movie. This film was our big life-changing. The world is not the same as it was yesterday. I'm serious, and I know that sounds like it's being over dramatic. It's just a film, and it really is just a film. But as a child, my entire view of everything shifted. My entire, everything was Star Wars after that. For like a decade after that, everything. It's all I cared about was Star Wars. So when I saw the film, I could see where this kid was going because you knew what he saw. And again, like even before Star Wars, I was still into. I watched Space 1999, and I watched anything that was science fiction, Star Trek, of course. So I was kind of in a lot of the same ways. You were kind of that geek that was, that was not really looked down upon a little bit until everybody saw this film, which I think was the cool part that they got to at the end of the film is what he was trying to get was that people need to see this movie because he saw the trailers for it, and then he got to see them making it. And he was like, you guys, he knew that once everybody saw this film, they were all going to get it. They were all going to understand what his whole life had been, about. The other thing I loved about the movie is how they nailed the 70s. Stuff in there that I had forgotten about that, the one thing, my wife didn't remember this, but I remember the little trailer thing. Remember that little, I can't even do the music, but it was like the picture of the film camera on the red background, and they play that before the trailers. They did, at least where the theaters I was. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that completely. So the little detail-y stuff, I thought they got right. And that's what those are the two things I liked about it, is that I really felt connected with this character in a lot of ways. Yeah. And then the fact that it was the 70s and a lot of that stuff came rushing back.
Bill.
Well, first of all, because I knew about this movie for so many years, it became my white whale, and I was like, I'm going, I'm going to get to see this movie someday. So this became like a quest, and so that was important. But I think, jumping on the comments Rizzo made, I think there's a lot to identify with in this movie. It's you connect to it. I don't make films, I don't do these things, but you feel a kinship to him, and the way he was talking about 2001: A Space Odyssey, the way he was talking about Silent Running, those things, these were all like events, and the way he idolized Trumble. Not so much Dykstra, because Dykstra I don't think was known.
Trumble, yeah.
Which I love that scene, by the way. When we see
we'll talk about that. Yeah.
It's true to life. Yeah, true to life. So it's a combination of, I really want to see this movie combined with, the nostalgia aspect of it, but at the same time, if you deconstruct the movie a little bit, you start to realize that everybody in that school is behind him, and they spoiler alert, they save him the best seat in the theater when it sells out. It's his seat.
Robin, the girl Robin does, yeah. And his mom. Sorry, hang on. His mom, beautifully played by Colleen Camp. And guys, you know who Colleen Camp is. She's been in a bunch of stuff. She was the maid in Clue.
Clue, yeah.
Thanks for telling me that, Mary Beth, because that was incredible. I didn't realize that, and I was
I knew I recognized her, and I kept going.
She's fabulous in this movie. She's fabulous. I just wanted to say, Phil, that she believes in her son. Like the whole first half of the movie, she's screaming Patrick because he's turned the pool blood red, and he's like. His brother fell asleep hanging in the air doing some stupid thing or whatever. Like all this stuff, and she's screaming Patrick, but she's the one that calls. Like she looks at that magazine and she's like, all right, I'm calling this guy. And she does it. She gets him out there. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
And I mean, the old saying was, to be a fan is a sad and lonely thing, but they really did have his back, and then, and this kind of like, is like, it sort of like puts a stop to the movie when he talks to his friend or his classmate who becomes a psychiatrist.
Oh yeah.
And if you listen to the commentary on the Blu-ray, the director will tell you all these people are real people in real life, and he really is a psychiatrist. He really went on to do that. And ironically, he said in the commentary, he went on to be the corporate psychiatrist for Home Depot or something. If that's such a thing, it's crazy. I know,
but
he does this whole thing where for me, story-wise, it stops the film and he examines his whole life, including what his father was really saying to him back in those days. So I always had the impression that his father had either died or something happened.
Yeah,
his father was a doctor. His father was an anesthesiologist.
They get divorced, right? They
get divorced, but the fact that he was making these movies to try to keep them together, and then does a flashback where you hear what the father's actually saying to him. It was heartbreaking, because I think as well, you know, as a child in any era, you want to please your parents. You want you know, to appreciate them. And this guy had, you know, it's like a heartbreaking moment in the film. So and then afterwards, he loses his virginity to his girlfriend, and he starts talking like he's gonna stay. He's not gonna go to Hollywood. He's gonna stay. And she and the entire town, it was like this scene out of I forgot the name of that movie. Where never mind. When I remember it, I'll bring it up. But it's like she picks a fight with him, so he'll go. You know, because the whole town is just going to stick around and be in this town and not go anywhere. And he wants to touch the monolith. That's really the imagery in this movie. He wants to evolve to. Yeah. He wants to be the star child.
It could be. Is it going to be a door, or is it going to be? I don't know. I won't know until I touch it.
Yeah, but at one point he's not going to go out there to touch it, and he finally does. And it's magnificent. It's magnificent because you're rooting for him.
Yeah, you really are.
And it's not whether or not he becomes Steven Spielberg. It's that he just goes. It's not the fact that you achieve your dreams. It's like you reach for them, you know, because at one point you feel like he's not going to even, he's been doing this all along and he's not going to even try at one point. And it's like, no, they push him out the door. And his best friend on the road at the end of the movie.
Yeah, the best friend. And he crosses out the population. And yeah. So I related to this movie, and I'll keep this really brief. I related to this movie because who are my nearest and dearest friends in my life right now? My friends from the Star Trek set tour. And when and how did I meet them? When we were making Star Trek Phase 2 and Star Trek New Voyages. We were the adult versions of this kid. We were doing it. We were making a fan film. Like, we were doing what he was doing in the 70s, where he was like trying to just use stuff that he found around the house to kind of mock up whatever. And what do you think we were doing? We were just playing on James's set, using whatever we could, mocking up costumes to make more Star Trek because we loved it so much. And I was like, oh my God, I am him and he is me. He is us and we are he. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, yeah. And then of course I thought about our friend Doug Drexler, our friends Mike and Denise Okuda, our friend Darren Doctorman. And I thought, my God, they must have all gone through this. Like, this must be kind of what their childhood was like, you know? So, but talk about, Rizzo, talk a little bit about the scene. So he finally goes to Hollywood. And talk to us about what happens when he finally goes to Hollywood.
Well, first he meets Spielberg, but he doesn't know who it's Spielberg at first. Of course, he's wearing the Jaws hat, and he thinks he's just like a production assistant or something. And Spielberg,
the guy who plays Spielberg,
they're literally he's on the set. They're making. They're doing they basically, because he was very young then. But I think they made him a little too young in this film. Like the character was a little too young.
I think that, but
they were doing Close Encounters. They were doing the special effects, and that was one of the things. We were watching the thing, and I saw the tank with the clouds.
Yeah, me too. I saw the colors. I'm like, Close Encounters.
I'm like, they're doing Close Encounters.
Me too. I knew what it was.
I knew exactly what they were working on. So that was kind of neat. And he meets. Of course, there's the key with Spielberg is. The other thing in this kid's life prior to this, Duel, the movie Duel, which was Spielberg really his first real movie that he did for television, which is a great movie. And if you haven't seen it, you need to go see it or rent it, whatever. It's awesome. And there's that thread of Duel with the truck showing up in his, like, kind of in his dreams, or he imagines the truck.
The villain of the movie. It's the villain.
Yeah, it's the villain in the movie. So anyway, then he ends up at ILM. Of course, it's not really ILM at this point. It's still just a bunch of guys that have been thrown together by George Lucas to create the special effects for Star Wars. And the first person he meets is Dykstra, which his first name is
John.
John.
John is John. Okay. So, and I knew it was him right away because they did a very good job with the long beard. And he's showing him all the models, and he's thinking, like, look at these are the breakaway. I love that one scene. He's got an X-wing model. Like, these are the breakaway ones that explode real easy. And he smashes it, and the kid's freaking out. He's like, yes, fix that. Wait a minute, no, don't do that. And it's a great scene because we would all do the same thing if we saw somebody pick up a perfectly good X-wing model and smash it to show you that it's breakaway. We would all freak out. It's like we would do the same thing. So that was a really cool scene, and that really, to me, was even though that was the middle of the movie, that whole Hollywood when he's in Hollywood
was huge.
is really the best part of the film.
Yeah.
Probably because of us, we can all geek out because we see where it's going.
Yeah.
Sidebar to that: if you haven't seen it, you need to, again, put this down as and I would almost say watch this first if you haven't seen this film yet. Watch the first 2 or 3 episodes of Light and Magic on Disney, which is basically the history of ILM. And you will know who John Dykstra is at that point if you don't know, and all this stuff and how they came up
with John Dykstra is.
Motion control. Maybe they don't. I don't know. The whole thing, because that was one of the interesting things when Spielberg starts talking about motion control, and the kid's like,
yeah, he starts techno
he has no idea. And I think at that point he realizes that he might be in over his head.
Yes.
That he's like they're way beyond doing stuff than he was doing. And I love the stuff that he was when they showed him making the films at home when he's doing the helicopter and he's shooting the model helicopter in the foreground so it looks like it's bigger than it is.
Doing like old
stuff
Harryhausen kind of.
That also threw me back to my childhood because I remember in junior high, a bunch of our friends took a film class and we were doing stuff like that. Making little models and stop action stuff and making these films out of our head. We're doing all that stuff. And it was really, I loved that. That's what I loved about it. And the other common theme was he kept blowing the circuit breaker in the house, whatever he did.
Yeah, the lights all go off and she'd scream, Patrick.
But there's a lot in the film. What is it? Lexicon is the right word, or just like our background in films that this movie touches on. I mean, I feel like there's parts of it that remind me of Breaking Away or Fame, where the keyboard dude blows the circuits in the school.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, I even feel like parts of this reminded me, and I hate to say this is stupid, Porky's. It was that sort of high school sort of wacky thing going on, or The Breakfast Club. It was that sort of vibe I was getting from it. But I think one of the things that Rizzo's touching on is that Rizzo, when he went to Hollywood in '76, he was seeing Star Wars pure. Remember how you like to say no bloody A, B, C, or D for the Enterprise? It was pure, not cut, pure, straight Star Wars. No sequels, no prequels, no streaming, not even, maybe the book was being written, by Alan Dean Foster at that point. That was it. You get the Kenner, we promised to build these toys and send them to you in April for Christmas after Star Wars came out. That's the Star Wars we had. There's nothing out there. It's just that one thing. And that's when, in my mind, my imagination just took off. When I saw those ads for Star Wars in '77, the original that they played the trailer for Star Wars in the movie with the original music. And if you listen to the commentary on the DVD, Patrick says, this is terrible. This is a terrible trailer. I love that trailer because I could see through all the nonsense. What's going on? And he's swinging across the chasm on the Death Star and the music's playing and there's Chewbacca in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. I'm thinking to myself, is Chewbacca the main character of this movie? Is he the one? Is he,
Just to jump in on the trailer. I agree with you. I watched the original Star Wars trailer now and I'm like, it's terrible compared to knowing what the movie is. I think I really do think it was a bad job of actually getting the message of what the movie was about. But I think in '77, it fit more of what we were seeing for trailers back then. You know what I'm saying? I think it fit in with the genre of the day of that's what trailers were like.
I remember seeing that trailer on TV. I felt like Moses on the mountaintop. It was like I was being hit by the lightning. It was like, and you're absolutely right. You look at it today, it's a crap fest. But 15-year-old Captain Phil trying to catch Space 1999 reruns, whatever, Star Trek reruns with his UHF antenna.
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember Space 1999 being in reruns anywhere.
Oh, I do. That's how I watched it in rerun.
Yeah, it must have been.
I never would have seen it. It was like
I remember when we've talked about this before. WPIX Channel 11 out of New York would always run.
That's where everybody saw everything.
They usually ran Lost in Space and then Star Trek.
If you're from Boston, you were watching PIX and what was 38? WSBK TV 38. If you were from down like the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, WPIX. Everyone
WPIX or Channel 9. Yeah, the one out of Jersey. Yeah.
They were running it like crazy in the beginning because I think it was pulling numbers for them. It was like helping them compete with the networks. But then after Star Wars hit in 77, then it became, like the Space 1999 station.
Yeah.
So it was fine.
Well, they were all scrambling for anything in that genre because the Star Wars was so big. That's basically Star Wars is how we got Battlestar Galactica. There would be no Battlestar Galactica.
Star Wars is how we got a million things.
A lot of
all
things.
All of a sudden,
everybody.
Things.
But I mean, when you talk about a TV show, I remember when they were Battlestar was being. We saw the trailers for Battlestar on ABC. And as a kid, I was like, oh my God, they're going to make a TV show that we're going to get to see every week. Not just once, in the theater kind of thing, And I've seen Star Wars. Been over this. I've seen Star Wars in the theater like 75 times.
I mean, yeah. I told my wife after we've been married for like 15 years that I saw Star Wars in the theaters like 50 times, and she said, "If you told me that before we married, I would never have married you." She was like,
I'm not even making that number. That's not like an exaggerated number. That's like an accurate. That's 75, and I've seen it many, many times. Obviously, on
sense.
It came into the theaters and it never left.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I think I've told you before. One of the summers between the original movie and Empire, one of the $1.99 theaters was running it, and all summer, and my friend's mother would drive us over there every day.
Yeah.
And we'd watch Star Wars.
My Star Wars.
It was only $1.
Yeah. The part of the movie you're talking about, Rizzo, is like the fulcrum of the movie. The thing balances, that's, and he's Jodie Foster in Contact. He's the messenger coming back to bring the,
Yes.
But the thing you left out was his connection with the guy in American Cinematographer magazine, who I thought looked so much like John Malkovich in this movie. Of course, it wasn't, but it just reminded me of him so much. And when he first enters into that,
he's been around. He's been in tons of stuff.
I really thought that guy was going to be the villain, that he was going to do something to him or do something bad was going to happen. I really felt like that. And then he turns into this sort of guide, but he lets Pat go in his own direction. He brings him to Spielberg to see what he does. And then he ends up he meets Trumbull.
Oh, he meets Trumbull.
Yeah.
It's not this great. It's a very but then he goes to Dykstra. Now, what you don't know that is not shown in the film is that when he went to these places, he meets Greg Jean. He goes to these places. They put him to work. He actually worked on the mothership. If you listen to the commentary section, he actually helped them out with this stuff. So he was there for a while and he did these things. But there's a great scene when he arrives at American Cinematographer, or It's a Dream, where he's in a spacesuit, and it's a reenactment of the hotel scene in 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I was dying. I was on the floor, and I have another parody of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm gonna drop in the comments section where some lady did during COVID, which just reminded me so much.
Oh, I saw that. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about,
yes,
right? Okay, so I'm just gonna drop the link in the comments.
Yeah, she's just in her own apartment. Yeah.
But I think the real genesis of this whole thing is 2001, and it really
it's like a running theme in the movie.
Yeah, so it's like everyone's all roads thing. Oh, in this case, all roads really go back. 2001 is the text. It's the touchstone. It's the source of everything, where this springs from. Star Wars, Space 1999. I think even Star Trek had to like reconcile itself with 2001: A Space Odyssey because there was that big of an effect. And he spends all this time, and it's like an acid test for him, where he has to go to people and see what they say about Space 1999, how he accepts them. So, 2001. I'm sorry. To see how he accepts them, if they understand the movie or not, or if they understand the movie according to how he understands the movie.
The peripheral characters are perpetually trying to explain them. Like no one understands the movie, and they're perpetually trying to explain the movie. And he meets the girlfriend because she happens, through another big misunderstanding, happens to be reading the novelization of 2001. So
Which
yeah,
turns
She's
out
a Star
that she-
Trek fangirl that had the book, and I thought he was going to hook up with
That's
her at
right.
the end of the movie.
He
He
was,
never
he was
does.
really dating
yeah,
the
it was
wrong
Star
one.
Trek fangirls.
Yeah, it
Death
was.
Star could destroy the Enterprise in one shot. The Enterprise has deflector.
It has shield.
It's just so cute.
Well, I think the best part is when you see the fangirls in their Star Trek shirts and they flip him the bird.
Yeah.
You know, I love that.
Yeah.
It was just the best.
Yeah,
It
the
was
fangirls doing their little Star Trek club thing.
This movie
Yeah,
is for
I mean,
us. It really
it
is
always
for
kind
us.
of
It's a
cracks
great
me up
thing.
when people get
Yeah.
into that battle of which one's better than the other. Or
Star
whatever.
Wars is philosophy for children. Like, you guys have seen that animation? Tell me you've seen it. If you haven't, I'll put it up on our Facebook page.
Yeah, put it up. Put it up.
Put it up
Oh,
because
it's
I'm not.
so cute. It's this little animated Picard versus Vader, and Picard is like, Star Wars is
Oh, I
philosophy.
probably. Oh yes, I have. I know what you're talking about. You know, the
Yeah, I
funny
think
thing
I've
is,
seen that,
the
yeah.
people that made on that really, Douglas Trumbull was the one that did the special effects.
Yeah,
for
that's kinda how he
2001,
got
and
it.
that's why he's following this guy. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
people watching weren't aware of that.
Yes, that's
So
how.
that's why he. So they no, he doesn't go after Kubrick, which is interesting. He doesn't.
No, he
he's
goes
not a.
right
I mean,
to
he's a
Doug.
fan of Kubrick, but he goes after after
on the
Trumbull.
wall, on the wall.
Because
in his
he's the
bedroom,
guy
he
that built
has-
the models, and I guess it also was the way he was a special effects builder, and then he became a director.
Yeah,
So he was trying to follow that path because he was doing the same thing. He was building the models, and I love the one they're doing Jaws 2 before there was a Jaws 2.
yeah, they did
Mind you.
in the pool.
And he's got the rubber shark, and the pool is full of fake blood,
That's
and of course
true.
it short,
I saw him in
it
an
shorts out
interview.
the pool filter, and it's just
Yeah.
that whole thing is great.
That all sounds true. I saw him in a pool filter. The scene where he's
Requiem for the Planet of the Apes.
yeah, Requiem for Planet of the Apes. The scene where he sits down and then this dopey kid in a baseball cap sits in front of him and they're just sitting there watching, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
the dopey kid's like, cut, and they realize it's Spielberg. That scene is true. That happened. And the Do You Want a Pepsi scene, that happened. So yeah, I mean, just so many little tidbits from his life, just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly this is he drew
And
from.
it's a
Yeah.
magic time. I think we can all look back on our lives, especially if you're a little bit older, and point to something that happened back in the past and say, this was the best day of my life. The day this
Yeah.
happened, this was it. And I think, that day when he first saw Star Wars and when he was out there and stuff like that, you can really point to that and
And he tried to see it so many times, and it just wasn't happening. They finally got him to
Well, I
see
mean,
it.
I guess this is the point that he could have gone and seen it.
He
on
could have
his
just gone by
own.
himself.
There was nothing stopping
nothing
him
stopping
from
him. He
going,
wanted to
walking
bring
to
his
the
friends.
theater.
You know why? Because he wanted to see his friends' reaction.
He wanted everybody.
wanted
That's the
that
thing. He wanted everybody to
experience.
see it
Yeah.
so that they could understand what he's been about all this time.
All the
That's
time,
what I said. That's kind of the focus of it, is why he was the way he was.
So
but they always understood him. They knew he was an artist. And they knew he had to leave.
yeah,
you
so,
know?
so
Yes,
plot
I mean his
spoiler
friends
alert.
and his family.
Yeah, his friends and family did. His close friends.
Yeah.
Plot spoiler alert: he leaves Hollywood and goes back for the girlfriend, and that has sad results. So that kind of is what galvanizes him to say, "Okay, yeah, I'm going. I'm leaving. I'm going to Hollywood." So like that's like the whole thing. So yeah, yeah, I think his friends and family did understand that he needed to go. Like he needed to.
And I think if you look at the girlfriend, in the school and everything, these are just the things. These are all his rites of passage. You don't have to marry your girlfriend from high school. You don't have, this is your time to try things. And there'll always be time for him to come back and see if it's, it'll work with them or not, but he's not a fully formed adult yet.
Kids don't think that way.
He can't make these life decisions at 17. He can't make these life decisions, to stay or go. He needs to just try to see what works, and that's what adolescence is supposed to be. So
Yeah.
it's touching. It's bittersweet because you want him to have it all. You want him to have the girl. You want him to be Trumbull's assistant. You want him to direct his own film. You want
Right,
him
you kind of almost
to
thought
see
that that's where
Star
it was
Wars.
going.
You want him to, and your
Yeah.
heart goes out to him because good life doesn't work like that.
Honestly, this is the way I thought the film was going to go before I saw it.
Yeah.
Just from the trailer. I thought the Hollywood part would be I thought he was going to see the movie the Star Wars was going to be his more of a catalyst in his life.
Yeah, that would make him good.
And that was going to be earlier on in the movie, and then the Hollywood part would be the end, and then he would end up becoming an apprentice to Dykstra or Spielberg or somebody like that, and then he would become, and that's where I thought it was going to go, but it didn't go there, and it was and I'm not saying that I'm disappointed by that. It just was, which nice that it was a little more unexpected than what I thought they were going to do with it. So you're right. We don't know what happens to him other than the fact that they do say most of this, like at the beginning, it says most of the stuff in this movie is true. The rest of it is definitely true or something like that.
Yeah. And if you listen to the commentary on it, and I mean, I need to listen to it again.
So Phil, you got to see you watched the DVD commentary. Enlighten us, share all the little secrets. This movie took a long time to get out. Did they talk about that? Like, what was what finally got it out?
I think it was all about the financing. He didn't get the full financing to do a full release. They changed a lot of things. They changed footage around. The scene where his Ford Pinto gets towed away from the movie theater is actually originally planned for him when he lost his virginity with his girlfriend. That really, the car was being towed there, and he runs out the window, jumps out the window from being with her, and chases his car down the street naked. So that part was switched. They took that out of the movie. It's in the trailer, but it's not in the movie.
Interesting.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I noticed there was what I think was either a pickup or a reshoot with the sister, the redheaded sister, where she looks noticeably older. Like she looks different. And you're
there was a lot of reshoots, and then also he talks about the quality of the footage. Some of the quality of the footage varies.
Yes, I actually noticed that.
Yes, if you have you guys have the eyes for this because of the work you did with.
Yeah, no, you can see it. You don't need the eyes for it. You can see it. It's like there's a veil over some of the scenes, and then other scenes are clear and beautiful.
Yeah, so
it doesn't matter. Don't let that scare you guys. It's still fabulous.
Oh no!
Yeah, you don't even. It doesn't. That's not even a factor. Honestly, it's that I didn't even really pay attention. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't. It didn't like affect my.
Nope.
And then go, oh, what is this awful scene? You know what I'm saying?
Nope. You're
paying attention to what's going on.
You're busy watching him like try to shoot.
Well, some of the stuff I love
that he did. Hanging with a light, and that's
he took the real scenes like with the Pinto, and made it, and it was a model. You know what I'm saying? Like they were interposing real footage with model footage of what was going on, as if he was making a movie.
Best friend is pretending to not have an arm.
But I mean, literally, like there were scenes like where you saw the Pinto going down the road, and it was clearly a model.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, they did that. They did a lot of model.
It wasn't a real car.
Yeah. You know, I heard him say in an interview that some of the guys that did the special effects for 525, just worked on it. Like they just believed in the project and they were working on it, and they were like taking it home and working on it at home and stuff. Sort of in their downtime. So, yeah, this movie kind of in a lot of ways was a home movie, kind of like what he was making back in the day. In a lot of different ways.
No, agreed. And I mean, he goes over all the changes in the commentary, and I think the last time they really. It's funny. I think he wasn't watching our version of the film when he did the commentary. I think he was watching an earlier print. Yeah, and he said, well, we'll have to redo this for the special edition, for the print that we're actually going to release that we actually saw. So there was a lot of that going on as well, and of course he spent more time at ILM and and on Close Encounters as well. Yeah, that's basically it. And his friend, his best friend, I forget what he went on to do, but his best friend did okay. But I was kind of shocked. I mean, in my mind, I keep going back to the scene where the psychiatrist kid is talking to him, and I thought that was total fiction for the movie, and he said that was real.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff in there, and there's a lot of people who were from his childhood who show up.
Was the fight at the party real? Was the fist in the mouth real?
The fist in the mouth was definitely real, and she definitely went to the hospital. That definitely happened. And the nurses who are laughing when they bring her out, that's her. That's the real person.
Oh, is that her?
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah, that really happened. And here's the best part. Thanks for jogging my memory. Here's the best part. her parents made her go to school the next day, so they had given her this tranquilizer or whatever and caused her mouth to be droopy, and she's drooling, and she couldn't miss a day of school, so she went to school like that with a so they made her go to school. So that was great. That was really, really funny. That was absolutely true.
That is funny.
She actually, I think, understood him better than his own girlfriend. Like, she got him. She's running hot and cold with him in the beginning in the car, like at the very beginning. She's like doing red light, green light with him. But then you realize she gets him. She understands him because she's the one that got him finally.
You almost thought that they were going to be. Maybe they did in the end. I don't know, because she took him to the film in the end. You know, that they ended up, because that's kind of where it ends.
It says, and this goes back with the adolescent idea of losing your virginity. She says when she's in the car with him, you know, it's going to be another point for me. I'll get another one, you know. But then she never does that with him because of the conflict with his best friend.
Yeah.
But she brings him to Star Wars.
She brings him to Star Wars.
The virginity she engineers and puts him in the best seat.
You've already seen it. I mean,
yeah.
Did she end up with the best friend? Not really. She's kind of on again, off again with the best friend too.
I think she married. I think he proposes. He proposes, and I think she accepts. Yeah.
Typical teen adolescent.
It's kind of odd because she comes off as like, you know what she is? She's a very sympathetic character, but what she's doing in the movie, ordinarily in these films, you would counter as like she's loose, she's doing everybody whatever, but in this movie she's kind of like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. You know, you fall in love with her and you respect her and you enjoy what she's doing. But the background is, you know, she's doing all this other stuff that maybe you wouldn't want your girlfriend to be doing that. You know, but
she was an interesting character.
She really was, and I, like I said before, the way that the whole thing hangs together, it's like all these characters are to push him. Like his education, you know, his teachers are his peers, and they're moving him along, even if he thinks he's an outsider.
Oh,
he never was an outsider.
The principal guys was played by he was on Scrubs. You'll know him immediately when you see him. What is his name? Neil Flynn.
Neil Flynn. Yep.
Yeah, and he comes in.
I couldn't place him.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of things. But yeah, you'll know him best for Scrubs. He was the janitor in Scrubs. And he was always kind of, you know, hanging around on his mop. Just
never saw an episode of it.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, he's
it's
like
great. It's marvelous. I love Scrubs.
Yeah, I love Scrubs. He's like a senior skip day. You're not gonna skip, and he's just like, no. And the guy was like, come on, just, you know. I mean, they all
eat my mutt loaf.
Yeah, I'm eating my mutt loaf.
Mutt loaf.
Did you guys get the idea when he's locked himself into the office to do the announcements? Shawshank Redemption. I was like, it's Shawshank Redemption. He's gonna play
out. The announcements were awesome.
Which would fit.
Him and the best friend are doing the morning announcements, and of course they're pushing their limits every morning with the principal.
Did they say lesbian?
Did they say lesbian? Yeah. They just did.
Another thing, it's like you can't say tits, but you just did. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, my tits were scripted, so clearly, if tits were in the script, then you can say tits, and they just say tits like over and over and over again.
Oh my God, that's a word we can't say on the radio, folks.
Can't say tits on the radio. We can say it on this show.
You can say it on this show. We might have to put the PG-13 warning up, but
yeah, just put the language warning up, no problem. And we're covered.
Anyway, as we kind of sort of getting on near the end here, what else do we need to tell you guys about this movie?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, if any of you guys had, I don't know if has anybody in the chat seen this? Are we the only three nerds that have seen this film?
Yeah.
Roy, well, I know. Roy.
I'm curious to see if anybody else has seen it.
I know you recommended it to Roy. I saw
Roy watched it, and Roy.
I heard you talking about it on the radio.
Roy was very emotionally. Roy finished. He had seen half of it when I had him on the radio, but then afterwards, he got to the end of it, and this is him coming in and out of being sick, and he said, "This was such a great movie for me to see because of my, growing up with Ross and us making those 8mm films.
You were making Super
really meant a lot to Roy, and it really emotionally was important to him. So it really touched him. The way your Star Trek phase 2 work, it's just sort of the same place. So yeah, and I like that because it seems like we're all coming to the same place from different roads.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, no, but I can relate to that. Like I said, we used to do this a lot of the same things with the film and try to make the recreate. Even if we weren't making a film, we were trying to recreate the scene.
Yeah,
or something like that. And yeah, it's just there's a lot of nostalgia in this film for those of us of my age from the 70s. If you grew up pretty much in your your pre-adolescent years in the 70s, a lot of this struck very true.
Yes.
I take it back to the feelings I had. I've been married for 30 years, and I look at Annette, and she gets up and she has the gray hair, and we had 2 kids, and we've lived our life, all these things, and I still see that girl I met in 1991. I still see her in that, and that's how I see this movie. I see that same sort of, I don't want to marry this movie, but I see that, I get that same vibe. The same vibe I had when I stood in Walden Books in 1976 and looked at the Star Trek Bantam book covers, and the technical manual and the blueprints, and the 1975 Marvel Comics calendar, with all the artwork in it. That's the vibe I get when I look at this movie. It brings me back to that place. I can never be in that place again. This is the next best thing. And that's the vibe I'm getting. And I think everybody has that too, and you're all, we're talking about seeing the trailer, with the bad music and everything, or seeing the movie for the first time. And it was pure then. And you can't go see, even George ruined it for us.
He did.
When he put the number in front of it.
He had to screw with it. And he doesn't, I don't think he understands. Maybe he does and doesn't care, or I don't know. I never met George Lucas. I don't really know him as a person, obviously, but why he felt, I know that they say that he always feels he wants to make his film.
He wanted to do, but
and he wanted certain things he wanted to do that he couldn't do then because of either the technology. But I don't know if he understood what this really meant for him. No. He was like, you went to the church and you knocked down the altar. You know what I'm saying, to make it better. And it's like, no, this is it's. Don't
burn down his own
temple. I'm like, please, but somebody, maybe that's in the contract when Disney bought Lucasfilms that they can't release. There has to be an original cut somewhere. They really didn't destroy them. So please re-release that. And I know that there was people that did, you can patch it together. They had the 70 millimeter, I think, film, and they were able to put it together, the original, but you can't download it as a whole thing. You have to do it in pieces.
And it goes back to that whole thing. It's like you have to play with your heart. It's all about your heart, because if you spend too much time thinking about Star Wars, you realize the story is just a mishmash, gobbledygook nonsense.
It's the hero's journey.
But if you look at it from that 8-year-old eyes, it's a wonder. It's just absolutely marvelous. Well, you don't have to overthink it, and I think there's been so many retcons and trying to make everything fit and everything work, and this is why this is why that. Like when they did with the Han Solo movie, where they tried to explain the Kessel Run. It's like, no, we don't care. We don't care. He said that because he's a braggart. He said that because and Obi-Wan Kenobi knew that. He rolls his eyes when he says he made the Kessel Run. How many parsecs?
12 parsecs, and we're like, we're all staunchly Han shot first people here.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, but that's the point. The point was, that's who this guy is. This guy is BSing you. And Obi-Wan knew it. We don't need it explained. He didn't really have to do the Kessel Run.
Hey, no. It's the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy.
Fastest
hunk of junk in the galaxy. Have to do that. I'm so sick of that. Just make a story that brings us back to that.
Well, again, Star Wars doesn't need a lot of explanation, as we know. It just doesn't need to make sense.
No, we know what's going on. We know what's going on. Sue has not seen it. Martin has not seen it. Bill Sotek saw it Monday night and loved it. John Haig is saying after he saw Empire with Hoth there, he bought tons of flour and tried to make Hoth in his house. Apparently his mom and dad were not happy. Yeah, guys, you haven't seen
we used to use laundry soap, the powdered stuff, the flakes. Which
William
actually
says after Close Encounters, mashed potatoes at dinner were never the same.
We're all making Devil's Towers with our mashed potatoes.
That's a great movie, of course.
John agrees. Good God, yes. Han shot.
Yes,
my mom loved
that.
That
was just
movie.
again trying to make they were trying to soften Solo's character.
He didn't need
by
to be
saying
softened.
he wasn't really that
They
bad a
liked him
guy.
the way
No,
he
he was
was.
a bad guy. I mean, he
was a scoundrel.
That's I don't know why.
He's a scoundrel.
Fine with a space pirate.
The reason why guys want to be Han Solo and women want to date Han Solo is because of who he is.
Yes.
Right.
He was cool AF.
Yeah. Even when I was a kid, you ask which character you want to be. Nobody said Luke. They all said we want to be Han.
No, we all knew. We all knew Leo was going to end up with Han. We always knew that. Well, actually, yeah.
Well,
Split of the Mind's Eye was totally a very uncomfortable experience.
You're looking at that with history's glasses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In other words,
I
think when, as you say, when it was pure, we didn't assume that.
And even at 7 years old, I got the formula of movies and TV shows. There's the main girl and the main guy, and the main girl and the main guy always end up together. And so my little 7-year-old mind, I was like, well, obviously that means Luke and Leia will end up together. So when it took that hard twist, I was like, okay.
Clearly, Alan Dean Foster thought that was the way it was going, because if you read Splinter of the Mind's Eye,
that's the way it went.
I think Lucas spent too much time talking to Joseph Campbell and got an inflated sense, of what he was doing. And he should have just kept it very simple. He should have talked to Roger Corman instead. Kept it to the base level. But still, this is what makes this movie so good, because as Star Wars grew apart from us, 5/25/77 is for us. It belongs to us.
And that's a great point, because that's exactly where I was saying that this film was made for. It speaks to so many of us that were touched by that film in many ways that it's hard to put into words in a lot of ways. It's hard to set. And this film does such a good job of it, because you relate to this character.
Yeah.
Those of us that love that film, and
it's like Jimmy Doohan walking into the holodeck in Relics with the recreated Enterprise. It's like you can't watch that and not tear up. It's not possible.
Right. Yeah. So. Well, all right. So, final thoughts. I think we all pretty much know what our final thoughts are going to be.
We know what our final thoughts are.
We all loved it. I loved it.
Go see it. If you are involved in fan films, go see it.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. Rent it $3. $3. Come on, that's not so.
Or if you just
Starbucks coffee costs you more than that.
You'll laugh. You'll cry. You'll kiss $3 goodbye.
Yeah. No, I don't think you'll kiss. I think you'll end up saying maybe I should buy the Blu-ray. So.
You'll end up saying maybe I should buy the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
guys, go see
this is like
us in our circle. Like this, you're gonna love. You're gonna love this movie. Just watch it.
I'm just so amazed and thrilled that I knew something that you guys didn't know, and that was like I was like when I sent it to you.
Think, and
I said. I thought you were going to say to me, "Oh, I saw that at a screening 5 years ago, Phil. You mean you haven't seen it yet?" That's literally what I thought you were going to say.
You really have a high opinion.
What are you talking about?
Well, I must say, you're really putting us up a little higher than you think we are.
Yeah, we can come down. If you can come up.
I kind of, after I saw the trailer, I think I had seen the trailer a long time ago, and I just forgot about it because it never came out. But maybe that's just deja vu, glitch in the Matrix, but no, clearly I hadn't not seen it until 2 days ago. I might have to buy it just to get the commentary. I'd love to watch it with the commentary.
I'm putting the original trailer link to it with the original music in the comments section if you guys want to check it out.
Yes, please do, guys. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely watch this trailer.
Yeah.
On that note.
Sure.
What do you have coming up next?
I'm just so happy you guys asked me to do this. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for asking me to come in. It was great fun playing with you again. It's been a great week with Ring Around the Moon a few days ago, and now this. It's just really So there's a chance I may be filling in for my friend Chris Laporta 8:00 tomorrow night for Global Rhythms. His mom's really sick, so we're worried about that. But I'm on DEFCON 4 for doing that. Friday Night Freeform. this Friday. I don't know what I'm doing, but on the 15th, I think it's the 15th, Thursday the 15th, is Captain Phil's Planet Holiday Special with the annual reading of The Grinch with my good friend and speech language pathologist, Anne-Marie Strauss.
I remember you did this.
Scarbucket. And we're going to do the reading of The Grinch where Anne-Marie is the narrator, I'm the Grinch, and Scarbucket, who is part of the 501st, is Cindy Lou Who. So, yes.
Well, our greetings to Scarbucket.
So it's not going to be Wookiee Life Day.
It's not Wookiee Life.
It is Wookiee Life Day. We do play the music from that. Yes, we do touch on that a lot, and we use the actual at the beginning of the show. We use the actual intro. What was it? NBC for the special NBC. There's a special programming, and it's the intro to right when Han and Chewbacca are talking about Life Day and fly away. So we incorporate all that. Then there's music. Then there's nonsense. And my friend Anne-Marie, I don't think I'm allowed to say it yet, but she has someone I worked with years ago. She has a huge surprise that's going to be shared with the listening audience. So tune in. She's great. She's very professional. There's pictures of her at the radio station back in the day, and you look at it and you say, if you're looking at me and Anne-Marie in the station, this is the original station. You say, who doesn't belong in this picture? You know, it looks like a kidnapping. So anyway, tune in for that. That'll be fun. And
And then let me see what Roy has. Roy's tie-dye sci-fi corner, bringing you the greatest science fiction of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Oh, it's another 2-hour episode on just one episode of something else. He's going to do the Avengers 1965 episode, Too Many Christmas Trees. And the episode Diana Rigg is a winner with me. She was gorgeous back in the day, and I loved her as Emma Peel. So yeah, Roy's tie-dye sci-fi is looking at the Avengers come Friday.
James Bond's wife.
I don't know what he's doing on Sunday. He hasn't said yet, but yeah. And wait, what are we doing? Wait, I might know what we're doing.
Hang on. I know what we're doing, but I'll let you say it because
I have written Shazam. Are we doing Shazam?
We're gonna do that, or I thought we were doing Christmas Vacation.
Right, that's the 21st. We'll do Christmas Vacation the 21st.
I don't know. Then did we say
Shazam? Then we're doing Shazam.
I have to watch Shazam. I've never seen it.
You watch it. It's another cute one. It's a family, very like hold your family close kind of story.
It's a good movie. He's a nice guy, and I saw Shazam, the dude who plays him at a convention. He's a nice guy.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So cool. Shazam, kids.
All right. Well, Phil, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me. I had a blast.
This film. I know the director of this film saw that we were doing this.
Yeah, I tagged the page. I tagged the film page, thinking it was run by a committee or whatever.
Right.
And all of a sudden,
it's the director that actually.
Writer, director.
Thanks for doing it. So who knows? Maybe.
Maybe Patrick, come on to Still. Come on to Still with Mike and Mary Beth.
Yeah, maybe he'll come on.
We would love to have you on.
I'm going to email you to come on WUSB.
That would be amazing, yes, to have him talk about this stuff. We would have
we
another whole hour of nerd fun.
We love nerdery, all things sci-fi, geeky, and nerdery. We love it.
If he releases the DVD again, he could add this show to the special features.
Of course, yeah, because of all the interviews he's done, clearly, this will, of all the praise for the movie, clearly.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's after 8 o'clock. I'm going to say good night. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, everybody stay safe, and we'll whatever we end up doing with Shazam or whatever, we'll see ya.
Shazam.
Good night, folks.